lower bracket run for 100 Thieves. Shout out to all of you.
The entire thing, man.
Dude, that would have been nuts. That would have been the longest lower bracket run I think we've ever seen in COD.
Yeah, because they did it. They one-upped us. Back on Envy and Ghost days, we made it all the way from top 16 and got second. Got smoked in the grand finals, but we had the best loser bracket run until 100 Thieves did what they did.
I can tell it doesn't live rent-free in your head or anything.
Absolutely not.
No, you're way over it. It's fine. Well, let's jump on into the action. We got Rio still here on our screens for the map number 2, Search and Destroy. Team Falcons kicking us off with the early offense.
Oh, and I love this play already from Team Falcons. Slowing down the game because they started versus Atlanta FaZe playing super aggressive, but they know how fast-paced Rio Search and Destroy can be.
Especially with no trophies.
Yeah, no trophy systems. At least they're able to gain early info that they were just spotting that crossover towards that B site.
Deep nade also tossed from the bridge side here for Gigabody. Retake nades though on the way for Lore Game, and they do not want to let this bomb go down. Here comes the retake over towards U-Haul. Works out nicely, and on top of that, they don't just find the kill, they actually get the bomb down. So now a very tricky spot for Falcons in the 3v4.
Oh, but Turiel decides to just hit that go button, and unfortunately, Falcons are able to get the better of him. So they even up the numbers for free, make it a 3v3, but Yuli seems that he has gained some info over towards his bridge side, but doesn't commit on the gunfight. And X did, and Khalid, they find 2, 3v1, left up to the 2-time world champ.
And that's one of those moments you look at for Turiel, like, brother, we got a 4v3, we've got top mid control.
Down as well.
Yeah, well, they may not have known that, but regardless, it felt like everything was right inside of the defensive hands, but now it's all down to Arcides. 1v3 situation. Time is running out just a touch here. Timing could be big, but Arcides does not get up the Eskies. So after the first blood gets tallied, nothing else goes the way of Lore Gaming.
Yeah, Falcons are able to capitalize on it once they find that freebie onto 2-Rail. I thought Yuli was going to even up the numbers or at least keep it in a 2v2, but he doesn't commit on that gunfight, reads the pressure coming from behind, but cannot take down either player. Just goes down to Lore. You find that opening first blood. Probably don't have the information that the bomb's down, but that's already job well done. You have the man advantage. Just trade out with our numbers.
And you got map control.
Yeah.
That one felt a little puzzling. And it looked like there was some conversation between Arcides and Turiel there at the end, so I imagine he's like, bro, chill.
That's challenges for us.
That's challengers for us. Well, here we go into round number 2. Doors are going to be popped by Yuli, waiting for defensive nades to come over the top, and no information really tallied by the look of it off the motion on the minimap as of yet.
Now it's time for Lore to use their tags to gain a little bit of info through top mid. The stud is going to be able to connect for Yuli. The nade doesn't connect onto anyone, but they are able to isolate onto King of Body. Another first blood, but an instant response, still 3v3.
Yeah, King of Body just had no real estate to work with. This time Khalid, who tried to take a secondary look up top through really this position that Roxas is in, also gets dealt with. Decent read from Roxas, but can't capitalize on the kill in front of him. So now it's just down to Xdid, and his position may not be fully known with this long flight, but he still gets figured out regardless through boxes, and that'll be a quick bounce back for Lore.
Yeah, good plays right there, good play call from Lore Gaming to effectively find that trade for that first blood, turn it into a 3v3, and not commit on the bomb plan over towards B, because there's so many different angles that you have yet to account for. They didn't have a single player watching that deep pinch, so they decide to push on through. They win those initial 2 engagements, then in the 1v3 Xdid stood no chance, as that bomb was getting planted, and you already had players in a position around boxes. So all-out defenses, all-out offenses so far.
Yeah, all offenses, yeah. See if that trend continues. Team Falcons looking to set themselves up here through mid once again. Xnid looking for Arcides at range. Not able to see him at least initially off of this kind of car v car battle. Eventually finds him, but largely this is all focused to see if Falcons can once again get control of top mid. Does Lore Gaming still have the nades set up to try to recontest? Not this time. Turiel take it down initially, and then the follow-up from King of Body is perfect.
That's fantastic. King of Body opens up with the Semtex over the top for the first blood and also finds the second, but Arcides at least minimizes the damage with that nade to make it a 3v2, and he's also going to be the aggressor. Finds that second kill onto Khalid, 2v2 now.
That's a totally different story if Arcides doesn't get that nade kill. It's the fact that the nade takes him out of the picture. No one knows that Arcides is pushing up, but the trade back is decent. King of Body also able to find the player down low. Oh, what are we doing? Paul not quite able to get taken down, but the follow-up is good. Weird moment there with the pistol, diving in and out, but still it works out for Team Falcons.
And that's King of Body finding 3 on the round with the aggression out of that SMG. The movement, not the best, puts the beat down, but almost gets the better of Paul Lex there, but thankfully puts down a couple shots to have him weak. Sets up his teammate for that final kill. All-out offenses so far. Falcons up 2-1 again. This time, if you find that initial first blood, let's just try to slow down the game, because it seems like Lore is setting the pace. They're not really playing for those objectives.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, look, that's been a critique that we've had across all of challengers this year.
Yeah.
Sometimes the first blood just does not pan out the way you would think it would. This time again, early is the first blood from Arcitys. Offense looking to go aggressively over towards B. Defense is nearby, but this is going to be a quick plant with the help of the trophy system for Lore.
Yeah, trophy system goes down. Khalid is able to at least find the bomb carrier in 2-rail, but the bomb does get planted. So still a 3v3. Usually throwing shoulders around this mid-connector area. Realizing that the pressure's going to be right in front of him. If he can win this first gunfight, even better, but Khalid finds his second on the round.
Yeah, that timing doesn't work out. Now Paul kind of has to keep his head in a swivel. Damage on to Khalid forces the team fight to come through, and now all of a sudden it's down to a 1v1. Paul is going to flip the map around. Where is Xnid is the question. Now they've seen each other, and Xnid takes the 1v1 win. And Falcons find themselves their third round.
And that's a momentum round right there. Instantly dropping for that first blood. They were able to clutch up in the 3v4. Khalid finds a double. You make it a 1v1. I thought Paulex would have liked to play that game clock a little bit better, but the timing wasn't the best. And Xnid, he gets the better of him to finally secure the first defensive round win in 2 search and destroys for Falcons.
Love it. Can you turn this into just a runaway map? It definitely feels like they have the ability to. I mean, they're playing the map really darn well. Battling back after first bloods has been part of it. The objective focus has been another. With only one first blood, they're up 3-1. That is an issue for Lore Gaming.
Oh, without question, man. You got to play your numbers advantage a lot better, and I expect better out of players that used to be formerly in the Pro League to not make these little mistakes. So now they go back on the defensive side. Falcons already showing a lot of presence over towards Bridge, and Apati takes control of top mid, realizing there's no pressure here. Probably time to work that objective.
Semtex just over towards the staircase. He does see the nades and stuns flying out through Eski's side, but Yuli is the first one to drop. This approach for the defense, trying to retake for Lore Gaming, not working out at the moment. Kikabati looking to take an extra stepper on the outside. Lore have seen this, but do they have the numbers to deal with it? That's the question.
Oh, 2-Rail takes advantage of that top mid positioning, finds that first kill. Arcitys finds the second, instant 2v2. But Xnid, I think he just turned on the 2-Rail. Another 1v1 here for Paulex and Xnid.
They're going to get some separation from one another. 40 seconds on the clock. And they're not playing for the bomb. Xnid. Does he have a feeling? Sure seems that way. Paul not going to give him the time of day. And now it's just down to, do you play for the kill? Do you play for the plant?
25 seconds to go. Paulex playing the 50-50. Time is starting to get away from him. Xnid on 3 in a row, just trying to check every single corner, potentially going to catch the timing, but this time it's more preferred in favor of Paulex. Secures the one-on-one, keeps this game really tight.
Pretty icy from Paul, just to sit there of all places. It works out nicely though for Lore. So Xnid staved off from finding a clutch, now gets us back to within just a 1-round game. And if you're Lore Gaming, you just got to take advantage of your first blood.
Yes.
And this could very comfortably be, what, 4-1 essentially for them at this moment, but not to be. So, again, if you're looking at this from Lore's perspective, you just got to be cleaner when you've got numbers advantage.
Without question, man, because it has yet to be a round for Falcons where they have worked that objective bomb plan. So if you are Lore, if you find that early man advantage, wait for them to make the play come to you. Because they are getting super aggressive basically every single round. 3 stacking over towards this B site. You're going to back them down with those tacks. 2-Rail potentially is going to find the opening to work this plant.
Real. Here comes the plant. Team Falcons, they do connect with the nades. They're going to try to recontest this. Bomb gets stuck, though. That does get planted. Arcitys with 1 trade, but how long can he stay alive? Because he's stuck over towards Bridge. Paul watching onto 1 cross. Arcitys trying to join him. 3v2. Numbers in favor of Falcons, but they do need to defuse.
Oh, and X is just going to hop it.
Yes, he is.
He already has it at 50%. Is Arcitys going to find the time to check it? Yes, he does. So takes down that second kill, turns it to a 2v2. They gain the info onto the player going on the pinch, and now it's Arcitys' turn. The 2-time world champ to clutch it up.
Oh, but he's maybe found enough separation to get the pistol out, but doesn't get the full health regen. That may have been the difference maker. Roxas finds the kill. Plenty of time for the defuse. And Falcons will grow their lead back to that 2-round cushion.
I think the adjustments for both of these teams now, on the attacking side specifically, is that you have to put more bodies to cover your bomb carrier because you're getting bombarded from those bottom Eskies. Even though 2-Rail gets the bomb down, they have the numbers in a 3v2. They find those effective trades, put themselves in the man advantage. And even though Arcitys was able to stop that defuse from initially coming in, those couple of shots come in, he's sitting there at 1 shot. Roxy takes full advantage of it again. Falcons take a nice little 4-2 lead.
And I will say, even though Khalid kind of, doesn't really capitalize on the flank fully, the damage dealt plus the position held allows a very quick follow-up from Roxas. So really good teamwork out of the last duo left alive for Falcons. Now we get into round number 7. Opening shots perfect. Roxas nearly able to turn that into a collat situation, but still happy with the first blood.
Without question, man, because Laura just giving them for free. Like, they're running up these hills or running up these lanes without any information gained. And now if you are Falcons, you have an opportunity to capitalize on it, but RCs and Yuli's, they find two, man advantage Lore.
It's another one of those situations where you're in a 4v3. If you're going to bang out that Eskies, do it together.
Yes.
Roxas able to collect the bomb. Immediately going to go for the plant. Exit trying to help out over the side windows, only finds one. So it leaves Roxas the 1v2.
Roxas in a 1v2 now on a 3 streak. This could be a game-defining round if he can clutch on up. Gains info early on onto Paul X. And if you already gained that info onto RCDs, you were going to commit on the gunfight, but he knew you were bound to retake that positioning again. He was ready for the gunfight. Can never catch a 2-time world champion slipping, as Lower Gaming are just continuously staying in this search and destroy.
Round for round they go, but they're going to have to win a couple in a row somewhere. Sooner rather than later, you'd think, especially with the 4-3 tally coming underway. So the conversations will start to brood. What do you call to try to string a couple together? Whereas, again, it feels like the conversation could have just lived in the first blood. Maybe it's just, can we keep 2Real alive? Because he's been the product of the first death throughout pretty much every single round, it almost feels like.
Yeah, without question, man. You got to play for early info if you are 2Real. Let's just stop running down and giving our life up for free. And if you are Falcons, playing your man advantage is a lot better. Thinking about that objective might be the key to success. A body this time around, though, just going to take top mid away from them. The entire Falcon squad instantly put themselves in a 4v2.
And that's the stun efficiency that you start to see everything landing for Team Falcons. Now they're just going to swarm forward. A flawless round for Team Falcons, now finding themselves on map point.
This is fantastic plays out of Falcons. Teamwork makes the dream work. You find that initial first blood, and thankfully now you got everybody right behind you to trade effectively. Not a single player falls. 4 up, 4 down. Very clean round out of Team Falcons. Now puts them at game point.
Gosh, and it's just one of those situations where, again, it feels like Laura just tried to do too much.
Yes.
I mean, all those stuns are hitting, and Yuli has got an angle, I get it, but 2Real tries to push forward to get his trade, where it's just, we can hold. They haven't retaken mid yet. Just feels like they're trying to do a little bit too much. Falcons going to back off a little bit here on this opening offense. Not even really throwing much either. So, they even find first blood with that. I mean, I'm telling you, like, no stuns or nades have really been thrown at all, and they still get first blood?
And it's onto 2Real as well. So instant man advantage for Falcons. They're also going to gain info onto the second player. And Xnid gets the better of Yuli. Still the man advantage, even with RCDs finding that kill, but Falcons have the man up advantage. They're going to start to work that objective.
Dude, Xnid's like, you don't be throwing stuns at me. Bomb planted. Paul, top Eskies, gives away his position, but RCDs has opened up with an elimination on the other side of the map. Roxas was looking for contact, does not see Paul initially. But the longer this takes, the more that Falcons will start to realize that this lore hit has to be coming either from behind or, more importantly, over through bridge side. And now they've repositioned completely.
20 seconds to go. You're able to gain info. If you are Paul, instantly finding that kill, turns it into a 2v1. But look at the route out of Khaled.
He very well may have predicted this correctly. 12 seconds on the clock. Has to check to see if anyone's on for the defuse. He finds the first. Oh my goodness! A massive 1v2 with a snapper to send map 2 the Falcons' way.
What a fantastic search and destroy right there out of Team Falcons. They said that the aggression is key. They secured a map here at their home event. And they are able to tie the series up at 1. You were looking for a little bit of momentum. You hear the crowd getting behind them as they take that search and destroy, tie the series up at 1. But if you are Laura, you are beating yourself up about that one.
Yes.
You found multiple first bloods. You're giving up your life away for free. That's not the recipe for success, especially with no smoke grenades. We don't always have to initially go for those gunfights 10 to 15 seconds into the round. Let the round develop. Let players start to make a little bit of mistakes. But when you're gifting them free first bloods,
yes,
the game's going to be a whole lot easier.
Or, I think more importantly, it's the simple fact that it was 3-1 in first bloods in the first 4 rounds in favor of Laura Gaming, and they were down 1-3. And then, of course, you can do the math yourself. They don't find a single first blood after the 4th round. huge critical errors from Lore Gaming early. Definitely felt like it just threw the composure out the window.
Without question, my friend. We're talking about the very first round of the entire map. You find that early first blood, but you're just, if you are too rare, you're giving up your life for free. Multiple rounds where he got picked off first. Working up B Street, trying to take top mid control. He challenged over towards bridge. He drops. And when you're these SMG players who love to get aggressive on a map like Rio, your life is very valuable because your ARs are not going to just fly in towards top mid, try to win some insane gunfights versus those rival 9s. They just have to slow down their game, and just simply getting outclassed in those gunfights through top mid costs Lore.
Unreal stuff, man. And for Team Falcons, that S&D prowess, we kind of looked at them as being possibly most strong-handed in the search and destroy. That comes to life. Again, good discipline, good decision-making for the most part, and an opportunity to not just see the first map go the way of Team Falcons here in the tournament, but you've got an invasion control coming up next where, yes, it was a 3-0 for Atlanta, but they did have a couple of great moments that very well could have led to a more convincing scoreline.
They kept up in every single round when you talk about the slaying department versus one of the best teams that we have in the game in Atlanta FaZe. So if you bring that same exact slaying prowess with a little bit more objective work and making the game a lot more difficult for the side of Lore Gaming. We're talking about not leaving up that A Street open, allowing players to sneak on in, not allowing players to get away from you and potentially earn some streaks. Just let the plays come to you. Make the game a lot more difficult than you did versus Atlanta.
Absolutely the case. And on the other side of things, you know, I hesitated to bring this up in the first matchup when we saw Atlanta FaZe play against Team Falcons, but, you know, if the temperature kept rising in that series, I think if you're looking at that from, like, FaZe's perspective, or in this example, now Lore, you're walking into the series like we should be handling these guys no problem. But now all of a sudden, how much does that doubt start to seep in of like, whoa, wait a second, what is happening here? We should be beating these guys easily, and we find ourselves in a 1-1 tie.
And that mindset, though, it might come back to bite you, because if you're thinking you got a layup series here, the way that you were playing, just getting first blood, giving up your life for free, just because you think that they're an easy opponent, that's not the case, man. You have to make sure you're playing fundamental Call of Duty, making the game a lot more difficult for the team on the opposing side. But Falcons, they got the better of them. Tied up at 1. We have a series on our hands.
And we got to run back for Team Falcons to get over to the invasion control, plus a Karachi Hardpoint, which, by all intentions, should be a real fun one. Don't you go anywhere. More Esports World Cup coming back after the break.
Ready, set, go.
Welcome back to our final match here in day number 1 of the group stage here for the EWC and the Modern Warfare 3 event. 1-1 current count between our Challengers champions in Lore Gaming and the hometown heroes of Team Falcons. We've got Invasion Control loading up for us here, and like we kind of talked about before the break, this is familiar ground for a Team Falcons squad that, yes, they got 3-0'd by FaZe, but there were some good moments for them.
Yeah, there were some great moments, especially in the slaying department. They got to keep that one up, but you have to not play that sneak attack kind of play over towards A. The only way you're doing situations like that and where you're able to let people buy, that's the only thing. If you're just running thinking that the lane is not going to be watched, that's a very different story. But when you're spotting a couple players probably giving up the angle at the wrong time, then you have to take advantage of those moments.
Yeah, we saw the versatility come into play for Team Falcons like we would have expected on a map like Invasion. And honestly, things to kind of, all right, we see you. A little bit of an eyebrow raiser. Now the same question will be asked for Lore Gaming after they had dropped what was a high-rise control, I believe, in their opening matchup from their round 1. Now we're going to get a first chance to see them on Invasion, where I think the big question mark is how much are we going to see that SMG drop for an AR? Is Too Real going to pull an MCW out, or is he going to hard stick to an SMG and try to get a little bit rambunctious and wild?
Well, even if he pulls out a third AR on AR maps in Control, at least the one that they played versus 100 Thieves, they got outslayed by 15 kills.
Good point.
3 players who went almost double negative. They just simply were not having a good time. But on a map like Invasion, it's completely different because you're not instantly getting put into that spawn trap unless you're the team on the attacking side. You can see RCD's trying to test out his controller, make sure everything is working correctly, because this is a crucial map, a deciding factor who potentially is going to walk away with this one.
Yeah, absolutely the case. I mean, the Karachi Hardpoint is what will be waiting for us on map number 4, and then if we need the 5th, it'll be back to an Invasion, Search and Destroy, which is something that we, again, saw from the side of Team Falcons. This would be something new for Lore Gaming, although I will say it was part of the picture in that 100 Thieves matchup, and this was map 5, and they obviously didn't get there. So, again, it's one of those situations where on a day where you don't have time to really go back and rewatch a lot of VOD, it's just a internal discussion of, remember this round when you did this? I would have loved for you to have rather done that. And, hey, there is live reaction kind of critiques that could be sent here from Team Falcons side, more so than what we've gotten out of Lore.
Yeah, and if you are Lore Gaming, you're obviously thinking still about that Search and Destroy, because like you said, you start off the game hot, you're finding multiple first bloods, but then the teamwork aspect basically was thrown out the window. You cannot have that here in Control, because in Control specifically, teamwork is going to be what able to allow one of these teams to walk away victorious in it. So if you're Lore, just slow down the game a little bit. That's the biggest thing when we talk about Challengers players. They tend to get super aggressive at the wrong time.
Yep.
Just let the play come to you.
And I think the thing is, for Team Falcons, that has to be where you take advantage.
Yes.
Punish the mistakes that come through. Because you even heard in the interview process with Team Falcons, they're saying, hey, we made a couple of small mistakes, but Atlanta FaZe really took advantage of that. We need to make sure we're not only individually making mistakes, but we're also capitalizing when our opponents are making mistakes of their own. And that's how upsets happen, friends. We saw it earlier. Gentlemates, map 5 winner versus G2. On the B stream right now, in the C group, Stallions is up 2-0 on Team Heretics. Now, granted, it was a 250-248 and a 6-5 surge, but keep your eye on both of these matches, because I know a lot of people on Twitter have been saying, there's been no upsets this tournament. It's just a reprise of champs. You couldn't be more wrong as we get deeper into this group stage, and there very well may be another massive upset on our hands here, depending on how map 3 goes.
So we're going to start with Team Falcons on the attacking side, showing a lot of presence around that mid-map. And I don't know if Lore Gaming, it's definitely an issue going on. So potentially a restart is going to come on in.
Happens.
Yeah, it happens. Don't know what happened, but we will get as quickly as we possibly can into the game as soon as we can.
Well, something just fell out of the back of RCD's monitor.
Oh, the HDMI? You couldn't see anything. You could not see anything. How are you going to play with your screen blank?
My screen's off. Ref, what are we doing? Well, let's just make sure that's all fastened up. And oh, there it is. Okay. Whoops.
We're all good.
Oh, things happen. Even Too Real's looking over, which is really ironic because Too Real had like major controller issues.
Remember that?
How can I forget that?
How, bro? Like, how do you not have a backup controller? There was 3 different rounds where his gun just started shooting by itself. And we're sitting there like, I don't know if he's tweaking or not, but there's definitely something going wrong with Too Real's setup. As we take a look at the maps and modes again, just to refresh your memory, 250 to 205 was the opening HP. Lore take that one. Team Falcons, though, respond with the phenomenal Search and Destroy, using that aggression to their advantage, closing out in the 6-3 fashion to tie the series up at 1. But now on this invasion control, the deciding factor usually when you get to this point of every single series, this is it.
Dude, it's just so funny that you bring that up because like Turo brought a backup pillow, but doesn't have a backup.
He's worried about
home.
comfort instead of the damn thing that helps him shoot his gun. That's insane.
Dude, that was so funny. If you know what we're talking about, you're in the know. If you don't know what we're talking about, sorry. But it was comedy. And so a little bit of comedic relief here as everyone's getting ready to go back into the lobby, just waiting on our cities to rejoin up, it looks like, at the moment. So a couple of extra conversations to happen before we jump into this control. I think the thing about it, though, here, depending on what side, I mean, we saw Lore start on the defensive side here. You know, do they control tempo immediately? Or, I mean, we saw good opening breakoff from Falcons on their first offense versus FaZe, kind of taking their full concentration towards B. I thought that worked out nicely for them. I'd say if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because versus Atlanta FaZe, they found those initial 4 kills. They took all the map control away from Atlanta FaZe. They were able to extend the game clock to 2 minutes and 20 seconds to work that objective over towards A, and at the same time, keeping up with the slaying of Atlanta FaZe. But now versus this Lore roster, controls can tend to be a little bit mixy at times. I think the 2 players that I'm really looking at to be the all-stars for both of these teams, looking at the 2-time world champion on one side for Lore Gaming, and Xnid, who is phenomenal. He played great versus Atlanta FaZe. He had a slow start in that map number 1, but somehow still puts up 30-plus kills. Both of those ARs need to be felt on a map like Invasion.
It's been really fun to kind of watch this Falcons team, not just over the course of the last couple of years, but just today. I mean, watching them not only shoot back versus FaZe, but stay competitive with them throughout the entirety of that series. And now, hey, you found your first map win versus the Challengers champion. So we asked the question, I think, a lot about how does the Pro League fare against our top Challenger squads? What does that skill gap look like? Well, here's a team in Team Falcons that came out of their own region, having not made it through EWC and now they're taking the Challengers champs a little bit of a ride. So it's really, I think, interesting to see how this game has developed now that we're here kind of post the regular season, so to speak.
And they're also probably not getting the best practice because you don't live in an NA side. You're not playing against the top competition every single day, but they are still putting up a fight as we spawn back into the invasion control. Again, Falcons on the attacking side. Our city's already starting off with a big gunfight around that middle map area, as that progression slowly but surely is working their way up at B, but that player falls, and now Lore Gaming currently have all map control.
Yeah, good route here from Khalid, able to follow up on the trade and put a little bit of pressure on the A zone. Off spawn, Team Falcons are spawning down towards Ice Cream side, but they're trying to cut back over through mid here. They've got full focus and intention towards getting a tick done at least here on the A zone. No trophy systems though, so the stuns, the nades all coming through, and how about it? First tick is locked. There is a little bit of help here as well.
That's fantastic plays out of Khalid to find the opening and also winning a couple gunfights in towards the heart, towards the hill. Is he gonna find a double? No, he is not. He actually does find 2, at least in Xnid. So he's instantly gonna put the pressure on the back of the spawns for Lore Gaming. Gotta iron up off base.
Yeah, decision time here for Team Falcons. They do see that the second tick is a little bit more vulnerable, but off spawn, they just don't really get back to the A zone in time. So second tick will stall out, but with pressure on B, Lore Gaming cannot stop the depleted. They're checking their focus purely over to try to reclaim this B zone.
Yeah, first segment already going to be in at this B point. This is a flawless start if you are Team Falcons. That's already 3 dead in the feed, and now they're hitting that go button to take that map control away from Lore. Roxas in the perfect position to potentially find a couple of spawners. Paul X is going to put down a couple shots, and he should be able to get isolated, but Yuli's not going to commit. He's going to leave this gunfight up to Paul, and he gets the better of Roxas.
It does take time, though, and in that time, the B zone's nearly fully captured, and Xnid, that is a bold challenge that works out. Second tick done at A, third on the way. Yeah, you've got a player watching the spawns. That's Arcitys at number 7 and white, but an extra 60 seconds get tallied, and here comes help from the B zone.
He's not going to find that engagement as well in the back of the spawn, playing for those spawn kills. Falcons still with a lot of mid-map control and the slaying lead, currently up by 3 kills. They have a lot of time to work with, but with Lore finding a couple kills in the feed, they're slowly but surely going to try to take the map control away from Falcons, and a bigger gunfight right there from Yuli to shut down Roxas.
Mid control starting to be wiggled back now on the side of Lore Gaming. Yuli off a couple in a row. Is he going to take an extra step? Falcons do own the B Street with a chance to possibly push forward. So Yuli's just going to hold here in Cafe. Too real to join him. But Paul, watching the OE, I don't think he realizes how much threat he's under right now.
And King of Body, he is slipped behind enemy lines, and it's going to catch Arcitys off guard. And Body's just going to give all the comms, telling them what the setup is looking like, a freebie onto RCD. And at the same time, the rest of the teammates find a couple kills. The stack should be in. This should be an offensive victory for Falcons.
Well, Khalid just trying to hold off the rotation in. That does not allow a stack to happen. So now it's just on to King of Body. Can he get this third take done before Lord can touch? Here's the contest. Oh, Team Nade comes through. Plus the beat down from King of Body, but he doesn't secure it. It was a whisker away from being done, but RCD's jumped into the picture, but they only have 5 lives left.
Now you got to turn this into TDM. Slow down the game, clutch up in these kills. You can already see in the feed, it's not in favor of the Falcons, but Roxy's, he finds the timing onto 2-Real. No more respawns in favor of Lore. They are playing super tight in the back of their spawn, and the Body finds a second.
And Roxas at Laundry. Could be a huge pivot point for Team Falcons coming off spawn, but he gets caught trying to chase down Yuli. 5 versus 3. Lord Gaming still holding on, but Xnid takes it down to 2 lives. No reason to rush, even if the clock is down.
Just got to take your time here. 25 seconds, still a lot of time to work with. You're gaining the info onto both of the players. 2-Real is going to be hurt, so you're going to back him down, but Yuli clutches up in the one-on-one. Still opportunities here for Lore.
And they can't find Yuli. He's still stuck over towards the backside of the site. 2-Real's also bounced out of Laundry. Now the time is becoming an issue. 2-Real for the first, but the kills come through, and Team Falcons will secure the opening offense.
That is an unbelievable round. Keep in mind, they did that opening offense with no trophy systems in the beginning of that round to secure those early segments. But where is the teamwork aspect of Lore? We gave up 3 segments at B for free, and at the same time, they're already on the 8-point. RCD's in your spawn, playing for spawn kills, while they're already earning that second segment. Lore are just not on the same page right now.
Not good news. 2-Real also just 3 and 9 on the opening defense. Not at all what you want to see out of the player that's supposed to be the cutoff man, the guy causing issues. No issues are being made, though, when he's putting up only 3 kills for the opening defense, mind you. Xnid kicking us off with an opening Semtex, and Falcons defense looking to mostly focus through mid at the moment, but there's some good help over the top of the B side as well.
Yeah, but this gets a lot more difficult now if you are Lore, because you're usually thinking, all right, first round defense, we just got to tie it up in the segments, get our 3 done at B, and we're going to be Gucci. But now you're down by 5. A lot of map control currently in favor of the Falcons. RCD's causing mayhem over towards this broken area. He's able to find a couple kills, a little bit of assistance there out of 2-Reals. That's 3 dead in the feed. You do have King of Body slowly but surely working on this defense, but it looks like Pollux has gotten a read on it. Cannot find that kill, but that first segment is going to be complete.
Yeah, good kill from Yuli. Kind of keeps 2-Real alive. He was under pressure through backside blue. King of Body cannot pinch the site yet. They need to find a kill from the front, and they're not even going to get that. So now good kills for Lore Gaming. 2 lives the lead. Second to progress locked, and there could be a route here to get to A quickly.
Yeah, this is a scary situation because at the same time, a Body and his teammate were pushed up into the spawn. Lore Gaming already had players roaming around that blue area, so time should be able to get extended. But thankfully, the respawn players from the Falcons were able to reposition themselves over towards that A street, find a couple exit kills, tie it up all at 21.
And now Roxas can play Water Bridge, just try to keep his life and make this difficult rotation that much more hard. How much harder? One of the 2. Lore Gaming trying to play at the OE. Not going to be shut down by Xnid, who turns that into now 4 in a row. 16 and 10, and Falcons cleanly in the feed.
This guy is an absolute shooter with that AR in hand. And he doesn't plan to slow down because he's already behind enemy lines. Make it 5 in a row. A potential cruise missile on the cards for Xnid. You're just not going to be able to account for him. He's moving left and right, looking a little bit like Shotzi. But that beatdown is going to cost him. But thankfully, he earns a cruise missile.
And you still have Khalid locking things down over towards front tank. I mean, there's just no room to work with right now if you're Lore Gaming. Minute 12 on the clock. 6 lives at the advantage of Team Falcons. And Lore Gaming are still spawning towards Ice Cream side. They do take care of Khalid, but there's still layers to this defense, and there's still a lot of work to be done here with not a lot of time on the clock for Lore.
Not a lot of time at all, because you're going to waste about 15 to 20 seconds working out of your spawn. But thankfully, you got players like Yuli and Pollux to find a couple of openings to work your way up to the map. So still a 3 live deficit. A lot of map control in favor of Lore, but Falcons again off of the respawns are reading this pressure to perfection. They are trading out more effectively, making it 2v2, but it's still them closing, holding on to that point.
Whatever this next hit is for Lore Gaming has to be clean. If they were to find a way to get the 2 ticks of progress they need, to at least tie up things up, if not possibly win the offense back, but this is not going to happen. The crossfire through mid is too strong. and now we're just down to 7 lives and only 20 seconds for Lower Gaming's offense.
You can already see the adjustments from Falcons, learning from their mistakes versus that land in phase, instantly putting someone always over towards that Water Street, not allowing anyone to slip behind enemy lines, but this is a scary situation. Yep. Still 8 seconds to go. A lot of map control for Lore. Here's the comes the contest, but you got Khalid, and he's able to find 3 in the feed. Unfortunate team kill, but it does not matter. Falcons only give up 3 segments, up 2-0 on the map.
And now you can feel it. I mean, the Search and Destroy was one thing, but this is another ball game altogether. And the confidence you start to see literally on stage for one side versus the borderline depression on the other. Again, this is the Challengers Champions. You're playing up against another Challengers team who did not even make it to champs. You expect to dominate, and now all of a sudden, you're being beat up bad.
Yeah, this is bad, man, because you're still down by 2 segments. So if you are Falcons, with the lead that you have, let's just go to B, play for the mid-map control that you find, but try to extend this time early on to give yourself a lot more opportunities. Because you have that cruise missile in the back pocket of Xnid. Now they are fighting initially these gunfights around that middle map area, but they already know. We have broken control. Let's just slowly work up this progression at B.
That just looked like a break-off that they knew where Arcides was from their first round and said maybe we can team shot him out. Doesn't really fully work out, but instead, it's Roxas through B to find the opening kill onto Yuli. Khalid dealing with pressure around the back, cannot find the kills, but look who snuck through again. King of Body now on the A zone, has the 1v1 with Paul to go his way. And now you've got progress on both zones at the same time, and all the last shots are good for King of Body. First take gonna be good today.
Yeah, first take is guaranteed, and now if you are Lower Gaming, what is the decision that you're gonna make? Are we still gonna contest over towards B, or are we gonna put our reinforcements to try to take down this player at A? Thankfully, a couple team fires able to take down King of Body, but that's already job well done. First segment secured, another 3 dead in the feed, and Falcons are just dominating right now on this map.
Roxas for 2, cleans up the trade onto Xnid, and then another deep through gas station side. Khalid hitting a route through the backside of gas. He's able to find 1. This is a huge issue now for Lower Gaming. Xnid does call the cruise missile in. They have not finished B yet, but with concentration and focus towards A, they're winning the fights from the front.
This is fantastic plays out of Falcons. There's still 1 player here to try to contest it, but the effective on the trade is Roxas.
Wow.
It's now slowly but surely you are forcing Lower Gaming to give up this A point. You're gonna have 2 minutes and 10 seconds, currently up by 6 lives for 1 segment at B.
Lower do get a deep defensive player over towards the tractor side. That could be an issue.
Shots.
But the shots from Khalid. Perfect around the back, does get surprised by Yuli, so no trade comes through. Opportunity for Roxas to keep the pressure on through blue side. They need to get these players, though, out of the front side of B tank if you're Falcons.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, though, because we know how difficult those gunfights can be when you're the players coming off of the respawn. As Paul X finds King of Body through mid-connector, but he realizes that the potentially pinch is still going to be on because Roxas has yet to die in towards DVD. He is on 4 in a row, but the snap from Arcides, too damn good. At least a 3, make it 4 dead. All of Team Falcons coming off the respawn.
And this is where things get deadly. Lower Gaming now own the advantage in the life count. And there's no more routes through mid if you're Team Falcons. You need to get Turiel out of this position. He's now all of a sudden on 4 in a row. Arcides and Paul also putting together streaks. Clean kill feed for the side of Lower Gaming, and they're really stepping up with Turiel on 5.
Well, you're going to need it, man, because you're currently going to be down by 7 segments, so there's no way in hell you're going to get your defense in that round number 5. So it has to be about the gunny and potentially a couple cruise missiles in the back pocket. Turiel on 5 in a row, Arcides on 3, Paul on 4. A perfect opportunity for Lower to potentially try to extend this game. First cruise missile earned. Arcides is going to fall. Paul, it's your turn to potentially find one. Great shots onto the player on the Water Street, but not able to find that kill.
Just no routes available for Team Falcons anywhere, and Paul will get the second cruise missile. So you want to talk about trying to make some corrections to what had happened. This could be how it happens right here. Falcons breaking through the ice cream setup, leaves Arcides essentially by himself. Yuli for support through Dark. He's able to take down a couple now on 4. Sees the last one around the cross. Turiel from the front would have to be the next one up to help defensively. It's 11v2 though, and Falcons are left to just try to stack on the zone. It does force a cruise missile though, which has you visibly confused. I mean, you're in 11v2. I get it's only 1 tick left, but there were defensive players nearby.
Yeah, that tells me right there the communication is non-existent for Lower Gaming. 11v2, Yuli finding that double is all you really needed to do to secure the defensive round. But Paul X decides to call in that cruise missile. Now you don't have this one going into this next round, but Like I said, they are down by 7 segments. So you just need to win this attacking round and then win another attacking round to try to take this map.
Just win 2 of back-to-back attacking rounds? Okay. Yeah, what is the cruise missile there? Puzzling moment, especially considering how hard fought it was to earn them. Yuli may be able to catch one back, though. Just one off from finding one of his own, but he gets shut down. It's Exnid for 2, looking for more, but Paul puts him in his place for at least a moment. Doesn't make much of a difference, though. Team Falcons defensively already pushing up the map.
Yep, Team Falcons is being aggressive over towards that B street, and if you are Lore, you have to capitalize on this moment. Paulex has all the back control. You should be able to gain the info. There's a lot of presence over towards B. We can probably hit this rotation over towards A. But they're using all their reinforcements to try to extend this time early. All tied up at 25 in the lives remaining. You have players like Arseny's challenging over towards that water street, but Roxy's gets the better of them.
Yep.
And here comes King of Body again on this pinch route.
This is how you win this defense right here, right now. King of Body gets the first. He's trying to stave off the hit through B, trusting his teammates will clean up the second. Maybe overvalues it, though, as Yuli nearly survives on his own. But Lore Gaming will at least be able to find some sort of a route to try to get back over towards B. Khalid tried to step into the play, doesn't work out, and now Lore Gaming can get back on the zone.
Yeah, but now they have to account for the players on Team Falcons who are working this deep pinch again. You're not going to be expecting Roxas because you had a player like Yuli watching this cross, but thankfully Roxas is not able to spot him. So Lore still dominating over towards his B street, but it's effective trades again from Team Falcons. Can King of Body find this double and continuously let this time get away? He finds it, but 27 seconds to go.
Stuns and nades are keeping Lore away from the zone. Now information gets tallied up. 2 Reels calling it a cruise. That's not going to land now all of a sudden. King of Body on 4 in a row. Pistol still out. Paul trying to battle against the force of the Falcons and trying to stay on the B zone. It's only down to 10 seconds. Paul faltering. Cannot find the elimination on the King of Body, who's on now 5 in a row. Last 6 seconds. Cruise missile opens the door for Lore to stop the clock.
And thankfully they take down a Body because he was on 5 in a row, but here comes the pinch from Khalid. He's only able to take down one. 3.1 seconds left on the game clock, but it's looking like Lore with the stack should be able to extend this game by an extra minute. But 15 to 12 in lives remaining. Lore only have 1 or 2 opportunities at this 8 point.
And just look at the mini-map. You've got Roxas deep over towards Palace Wall. You've got 2 players in Falcons watching the cut, both through the A site as well as through Cafe, and then Exit just needs to stay alive on the OE. There's just no room for Lore Gaming to work with. Exit did get pushed out of blue. The support is here for Lore Gaming, but they have not been able to find him.
They're taking their time now. They're trying to see what the setup is looking like for Falcons, effective on the one-on-one trade. But it's still Falcons just trading out a lot more effectively. Now they are reading where the pressure's coming in. Double stacking towards this deep pinch area with only 25 seconds left. This is looking like a Falcons W.
What is this? Oh, tough gunfight with Exdid. Goes the way of Lore Gaming. 8v13. Shots from 2 Reel are good. Hold on to your horses. Rox is over towards Water Bridge, the only defensive member that's deep, and now he gets taken down. So the reinforcements for the Falcons have to be clean. 4 seconds on the clock. Who's going to be able to touch it? Time, though. The answer is absolutely nobody as Khalid finds a couple, and it's a 3-1 in the control for Team Falcons.
What are you talking about? They didn't have enough time to learn from their mistakes. That was beautifully played right there from Falcons. They realized the opportunities that they had to take and take advantage of. They dominated in the sling. They showed a lot of presence around that mid-map area, forced the mind games out of Lore Gaming to think, what the hell are they doing? They're showing presence at A. They're also around mid-map, and they also have 1 player capping over towards B. It's just from start to finish of that map, you could just tell Lore Gaming were simply out of sync, man. You're allowing segments to get away from you while players are playing for spawn kills. That's not the recipe for success. And Team Falcons, they dominate in that control, finally securing their first respawn victory here.
I am absolutely mind blown, to put it plainly. And now I worry about the composure for Lore, flat out. Especially considering the fact that I think we can highlight, low light, the fact that it felt too individual.
Yes.
From the side of Lore Gaming, where communication is just not really clicking. You're going to go into a Karachi Hardpoint next, where Falcons, yes, they have really struggled in rotations, it feels like, over the course of Rio, but you win a couple of individual gunfights, you're in the party with FaZe, and you probably win map number 1 versus Lore. This map could snowball quickly if Lore doesn't figure it out.
Yeah, especially with the way that Falcons are shooting right now. Everyone putting up some massive numbers. Exnid again dropping another 30 piece in another respawn, but this time for a victory at the very end. And And if you are Lore, a team that won Challengers Champs, you thought you were going to have opportunities potentially for a couple spots in the Pro League next year. You lose to Team Falcons,
You're
a
out
team
of the
that
picture,
everybody had all the way at the bottom of the list, man. You might as well chalk the season up.
I mean, wow. Legitimately wow. I'll be honest, I slept on this Team Falcons squad.
I did a little bit too.
I mean, yeah, we talked about the success they had Season 3, the EU Elite, but that's not enough for them to qualify off of the points they've earned on the season to get the champs. They don't make it through the LCQ, and you start to think, you know, maybe it was just a good week for them. Not apparently the case, because they look just as good as ever so far here today. Both versus FaZe, and especially here versus Lore Gaming, and that blows all expectations out of the water because, like you mentioned, this is your Challengers champions. You're looking at them to not just get, you know, a win, but to possibly get out of their group. That might not be the case anymore.
Not at all, man. Not at all, especially with the way that they're playing. We saw it early on in the Search and Destroy, though. It's just like individuals making individual plays when it's not necessary. And I feel like we heard a little bit of that interview with Miles at Arcides.
Yeah.
Arcides feels like, okay, I don't got to worry about rotations. That's a coach's job. I just got to do my 25%, and everybody else has to do their 25%. But the team seems to be out of sync right now.
Agreed.
Someone has to step up as a leader to get everybody all on the same page if you want to at least try to force this game number 5.
This is a make or break moment for all 4 of these players.
100%.
I mean, there's one of 2 ways that the conversation goes right now if you're a Lore Gaming of like, yo, we need to put up, like, lock in. We need to get this thing together. Everyone buys in. Or you're looking at this across the table and there's someone on your team saying, what's happening? Why are you guys not doing this, doing that? And everything falls apart. You either come together right now or it completely crumbles. There's no in between.
Yeah, because you're either going to come together here and force a game number 5, or you're going to get eliminated on day 1 being the top team to come out from Challengers. That just is not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Especially versus a team in Team Falcons, who we all counted out. We had no idea what this team was going to bring. We knew that they were great at Search and Destroy. They knew that King of Body was probably going to put on an absolute show.
Sure.
But Xnid, with that AR in hand, he's winning some insane gunfights.
Yeah.
If he continues to do that on this map like Karachi, and you combine those gunfights with a couple rotations, man, they might be able to make it to tomorrow.
Him and Khalid both, I think, have been really, really impressive.
Oh, yeah.
So this might be another, and what has been a long line of this particular block, showing some upsets. Team Heretics lose 3-0 to Stallions.
Oh,
but it
my
doesn't get
God.
closer. 248 to 250. 3-2 on the control and a 6-5 surge.
Oh my God, that is impressive. That's
yeah.
demoralizing, man. It's like right there. 2-point hardpoint game, 1 round in Search and Destroy, 1 round in Control, and unfortunately for you, you fly all the way across the world to lose like that. That's tough.
I mean, unless you go back home to Spain, in which case the flight home's not as long. I don't know. Regardless of that fact, this might be one of the storylines of the entire tournament, though. The Challengers champs at threat of being eliminated by Team Falcons out of the local MENA region. And again, I think it all comes down to who buys into what that man right there is saying. If we're all able to reset, find our composure, and trust the process, this Lore Gaming still has a lot of life left in them. However, if someone out there is thinking, I'm doing my job, no one else is doing theirs, I'm going to go do my thing, this team might fall apart.
And I love the body language right now out of Ricky Atura, the coach for Lore Gaming. Because he's just walking around like, all right, guys, you guys know that you guys are better than these guys. We just got to do what we need to do. And that show a little bit of teamwork. It doesn't seem like he's stressing out a little bit. He's trying to make sure everybody is ready to rock and roll into this map number 4, because tournament lives are on the line here. Karachi HP, at least in that opening hard point, you had players like 2Real who had an early pop-off, who gave that SMG presence early on. And on a map like Karachi, he could definitely do the same exact thing.
Very well could. But I'll tell you, Jay, not to just kind of keep going back to this, but we're at the precipice of having our number 1 and number 2 Challengers teams eliminated day 1.
That's insane, man.
That's insane. I mean, by organization, the Admit Brooklyn team is now mostly Boston, so it doesn't really necessarily hold the same weight, but organizationally, we very well may have both of our top 2 orgs out from the Challenger spot, depending on how this goes.
And I'm curious to think about what the conversation is for Lore. Because I know Ricky, he was a phenomenal coach last season for that Miami team. Remember when they brought in a Hodo, Ross, and Whitfellow, with Capsule, with Fecal, they started to find a lot of success towards the end of the year. So God knows what it takes to win. It's just like now to be in this kind of situation, down 2-1, when you're the heavy favorite going into this series, everyone just simply has to be on the same page. And if you don't start off hot into this map, number one, it might be over.
No, I think it legitimately is that. The first rotation from 1 to 2 might determine this entire game. Because you could sit there and you could regain composure all you want, but if you drop that first P2, if you're Lore Gaming, all of a sudden, again, you find yourself in that cycle of, I'm not trusting that my teammates are doing the job that they should be doing. Gotta do your job. That's the big key. Team Falcons, I think on the other side, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. You're right there with a chance to extend your tournament to another possible world where, who knows, if they play a phase again or if they play 100 Thieves, depending on the outcome of that match, they may make it out of this group, which I know it kind of sounds like I'm fishing a little bit, but I truly mean it based on how they're playing today.
Hey, man, if they get through this series here, you best believe on a good night's rest, going back home, watching a little bit of VOD review, they will be a lot more prepared for that series tomorrow if they can get there. And as we take a look at the bracket for this group, man, it could not be more mixy at this point. Obviously, Atlanta FaZe, one of the top dogs. They take care of Team Falcons in a clean 3-0, even though Falcons put up a great fight. Yep. But 100 Thieves, the #1 seed actually in this group due to their placing at champs. They were able to get the better of Lore Gaming. The only map that they ended up losing was that Search and Destroy on High Rise, which I circled because 100 Thieves all throughout the season, High Rise Search and Destroy was a bread and butter for them. They got dominated 6-1, but the heartbreaking loss in that game 4 hardpoint for Lore was unbelievable.
It could be, again, I think some of the teams that are, from the Pro League may struggle a little bit trying to figure out the adjustments to not having smokes. That could be part of the picture. We'll see. It is one of those things, though, like, you look at the integrity of this series, and sometimes we get to the phrase of, a man with nothing to lose is the most dangerous man on the earth.
Yes.
However, maybe more dangerous is a man with nothing to lose and a little bit of hope and belief that starts to get injected, because that turns into quick momentum. That's what Falcons have brewing for him right now.
That's the scariest thing, man, playing against a team, like you said, who has nothing to lose, because they're just going to go out there and have fun, play their game. And now for that team that we're talking about in Team Falcons, they find themselves up 2-1 in the series. Into the map 4 we go. Karachi Hardpoint, a potential closing map here for Team Falcons to try to move on to tomorrow.
Let's see if the regain is in place here for Lore Gaming. Falcons coming from the unfavored side find 3 for 1 in the opening exchange. Arcity still holding on to the bottom lane, but Falcons can jump into the hard point for some time.
Yeah, we got to jump into that hard point a lot sooner, though, because you find the initial gunfights, and now you're still going to get at least a good chunk of 30 seconds here. Lore Gaming decide to hit that early rotations, but Khalid in a perfect positioning. He's able to find double on this overextension, and now that's basically going to shut down that opportunity of a potential break for Lore.
And it's one of those things, I know it's a small moment, but you have to give credit to the discipline. Not getting too antsy and pulling the trigger too early. Too real. Tested on rotation. Pardon me? Does not expect him to jump up on top of the bus stop, and that's enough for the kill to come out, and Falcons are still owning time on 1 while rotating successfully to 2. Uh-oh, here we go.
And Khalid's already 6-1 to start off this game, man. The AR presence has been felt. They win the rotation over towards New. You're still in the hill trying to win a couple clutch gunfights, but Xneed is close on by. He's able to find that trade, and it's still Team Falcons holding on to the hard point.
And look at the trust from Team Falcons. The players coming from bottom red cut off the rotation through Car, and he can just really focus on this jump up. Problem is, his teammates will lose his lives. So now it's on to Lore, trying to find a way to break back into the hill, and it's 3 straight eliminations. Khalid has not been seen as of yet, though. Can he foil this setup? How about Khalid? 9-2 start, does not expect Arcities, but the trades are looking decent. King of Body and Roxas re-break the hill.
Oh, and this is so scary now because there's only 20 seconds to fight for here at P2. Lore Gaming, no, we cannot commit all reinforcement to try to play for that junk time. We have to start thinking about that rotation. But Falcons, they are playing phenomenal right now. That's now back-to-back rotation wins, but they're going to get bombarded in this situation because there's a lot of presence from Lore Gaming over towards top 3. They are finding the effective trades. They are finding the gunfights, and it should allow them to set up now here at a money hill at P3.
Roxas from the front has help with King of Body on the way. Xdid trying to supply a little bit of extra assistance, but it's only a couple of kills. Lore Gaming still spawning relatively close. Bold challenge from Xdid gets pushed aside, and now Lore Gaming looking good for the better part of this back 40.
Yeah, you need this entire time if you are Lore. A flawless hold gets you right back into this game. You have Falcons, a couple players going under pinch, but Khalid is going to get shut down. Now all the pressure coming in from junk side. Xnid, he's able to find one. A body finds a trade, so it's going to turn into a 2-on-2. And now with Paul X only at 20 HP, he has to try to play his life. You do not want to drop it and allow him to walk for free.
Too real from inside the hill, though. Good for the first challenger. steps back out, and in that moment, Lord Gaming will secure the backside of all of this scrap time, and they're starting to find some transition kills. Team Falcons were trying to get the P4 early, but that's already been under threat, and now it's just Roxas trying to hold deep over towards White Truck.
Now 5-point difference in this game. At a P4 hardpoint where neither team is going to fight for a majority of this time, most likely playing for that map control. But Falcons, they find the initial couple of gunfights. Lore, their backs are completely against the wall. Let's step aside and go to listen it with Lore.
Right, watch up there now, give me a second.
He's right side fire.
Sitting in the corner, bro.
I need one trip, I need one trip.
Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive.
Sitting coop,
I'm pitching back.
Let's play first time.
I just got fire. In bottom found, dead.
Nice,
Very
nice,
seconds, bro.
Hang on by this coop.
There's a guy keeping this guy fire. There's probably one in front.
Body one shot.
I don't see this guy on the
Absolutely, one's top castle, top castle. Alrighty. Top castle on right, cut. Nice, top castle.
Back H, back H.
Back H.
On time, what's up, Rush behind
H weak, H weak. One top castle. I'm focusing now. Alrighty, I got naded top 3. One coming
I'm helping left, I'm helping
You
left.
by yourself, you laid
There's
down.
2 ult.
I'm getting fire
One
here.
top trips, one ult.
Alrighty.
Could be top, bro.
I'm coming
Could be third.
Alrighty, I'm coming up here.
I spawned out.
One back.
I got one.
He's in ticket.
Alrighty.
Take it weak, really
Spawning
weak.
P2, spawning P2.
I'm fine.
Ticket,
Cross left.
Once again, then spawning P2.
I'm looking at
I don't get that. I want that. I'm going your fire. I'm getting fire.
King body on the left, okay?
Things are sounding pretty calm for Lore after a successful hold at 4. Now they're on 5 as we jump over to a Team Falcons listening for their break attempt.
انا بحتريكم يا عيال طلعوا
عندك مات يلا
طلعوا التايم رتبه طلعت وين يسار التايم يسار التايم صار منسدح يسار التايم ها
مو بان والله شان
تعال رسبنا ويمكن مناره رسبنا مناره في ناس معي
بشيله بي 3 مات
يا عمري
فوق
في واحد تحت فوقن مع بعض يا عيال
انا بلعب ديو
بجيك خالد امسك يسار امسك يسار
باخذ التايم ها
خذوا التايم
ثاني فوق تحت فوق فدا يا عيال فدا
بيغدرون من يمين
صار كله عليه ها
انا ماسك النص ها
بمسك يضغط يمين
واحد يجي تايم انا ماسك النص واحد يجي تايم
يمين قريب واحد هولد
واحد عندي رد ها واحد رد للحين
بي 3 واحد جنك
واحد بيقدر علي ايه لازم العب عليه
بشيله
يا عيال مخلي التايم لكم في واحد عندي
كمل فير
خلي التايم لكم يا عيال
ما اشوفه
برجع للتايم
تحتي
ايه مات
واحد يمين مره فوق الشكن طف النور تايم في واحد
مربع يمين
واحد قريب
ما تكسر انا شفت تو خالد
بجي اشوف لك نص انا اشوف
عندي تقريب
Difficult time from 4 to 5, but a clinical re-break here at P1. And keep your eye on the minimap because we're 25 seconds left. And with the spawns on the left side of the map, Team Falcons are already thinking for P2.
Yeah, they're going to start thinking about P2 because Lore are going to bombard their way back in towards this P1. Still a good chunk of time to fight for the final 20. If you are Team Falcons, you're just going to cut your losses, set up properly for that P2 HP, and try to chain it this time around towards P3. It's a 2-2 split in the kill feed. But Arcades, he's able to find a double, so the pressure is going to be on towards Khalid. He's sitting at 19 and 10, but his hands are going to be full.
Just does not predict the timing on Arcades from the front. So now all of a sudden, Lord Gaming find themselves in Cafe as the first squad earning time. Falcons do get over the jump wall, but these are difficult fights in the back alley, or are they? 2 will drop immediately. King of Body in for the contest. Help is on the way. Paul, the last one, left inside the hill, and he gets overwhelmed. Last one now standing with the final jump. It was Arcades, but he can do nothing. So the break is successful, and Team Falcons a chance to reclaim the lead.
And if you are Falcons, you got to try to push on out. Try to create a couple layers, make it more difficult for Lore to work their way for a potential break opportunity again. Great nade is going to slow him down, has him one shot. Great plays out of Roxy. Tries to take down Yuli as well, but the double good enough from Yuli. And that final 15 is going to go in favor of Lore. And this can be a scary moment now if you are Falcons. You have the numbers. You're still going to fight for this old time, but rotation is heavily in favor of Lore.
Absolutely, and with those final kills coming out of Arcades, he may put himself in a position to possibly earn himself a cruise missile. And Arcades is feeling himself.
Okay.
142 to 120. The crowd here doesn't like that, but Lore have themselves on rotation with a chance to blow the game wide open.
Hey, 23 and 12 on a 5 streak. The 2-time world champion not trying to get exited on day number 1. Trying to gain a little bit of momentum for his team as they are fully set up for the P3. Cruise missile in the back pocket already earned. Effective in the kill feed is the trades from Lore. Last player alive is going to be Khalid. He falls, and that's already the first push getting shut down.
And this could be where the game becomes almost unwinnable if Lore Gaming get the final 30 here. Would put this at an 80-point deficit, so every contest is massive right here, right now for Team Falcons. Yuli still inside the hill. Being threatened on the back door, and that's going to get the better of him. Follow from Roxas is good. That's a very good break for Team Falcons, not only for the scrap, but you've also got motion over towards Dew as well.
Oh, yeah, you got to soak up this final 20, though. Try to get this freebie time, but unfortunately, 2Real is going to get the better of Xnid. So the final 10 in favor of Lore, and they have a cruise missile to work with. So we're going over towards the P4 again, where it was mostly dominated by Lore Gaming the first half. But now Team Falcons fully set up off the rotation. You have top 3 control, you have bridge control as well. So it's going to be quite some time before Lore can work their way on in, but this is where you invest the cruise.
Roxas trying to play over towards bridge side. Good opener onto Yuli, plus the stun also lands. The cruise missile only gets him out of position. That's a 1-for-1 trade that Falcons will take every day. The follow-up eliminations are also there for Team Falcons, so they survive through the cruise, and they're finding kills through mid. This is how Team Falcons get back into the game.
This is perfectly played right now out of Team Falcons. Finally, Yuli's going to find the angle onto Khalid. Able to take him off of this time for now. But still a good chunk of time to fight for it. Now it gets a little scary because Lord, they're starting to spawn out towards the back. Early rotation is going to come in from Khalid, but Roxy's still at the old hill, is making chaos for Lore Gaming. A big one-on-one gunfight. Paul X, you have to make a play.
He's not trying to make a move just yet, though. Team Falcons fully set up. 195 to 156. Shots out of Paul alert Falcons that the hit from Lore Gaming is close by. But with no cruise missile here, Lore Gaming have to do this the old-fashioned way. Opening gunfight, good for Roxas. Khalid still holding into a corner. A trade comes through, but for Lore Gaming, it's just not creating enough opportunity. Now they're going to have to try to force it from the front.
And this is where you would really love that cruise missile, man, to find that initial opening kill. So you can have the numbers potentially for this break, but Falcons, they are slowly but surely fighting their way back into this game. It's only a matter of moments before Khalid decides to strike. He's able to find the first kill. He's not going to spot the second, but Arcades has no idea that he's there. It does not make sense. The communication for Lore Gaming is simply lacking, and Falcons are taking full advantage of it.
And you got a pinch on the way. King of Body around the back. Khalid has done more than enough to keep his life. Here comes King of Body with the pistol in hand. He's only able to find the first. Back to the MCW. Shut down. 10 seconds of scrap. Good for Lore. But as we rotate to new, top third's going to go the way of Falcons.
Yeah, you would take this if you are a Falcon. Still a 10-point difference, but a lot of the map control in their favor. You can still close it out with the full 60 here at P1, but there's multiple different angles you have to account for, and Falcons are doing a great job of finding the kills around the hard point. They put themselves back on in, and if you're Lore, you gotta slow it down.
It's a late lead swap for Team Falcons. 2Real trying to recontest up top, but Falcons are finding the kills over towards the rotation on the middle of the map. Paul's double keeps the play alive, but he can do no more besides just hold top red. He's in trouble, though, and Yuli bails him out. Time still going to Lore here on P1.
Yeah, Lore can no longer win it here, and if you are Falcons, the best thing you can do is contest this all the way to the very end, but do not lose those spawns, and also do not allow Paul X to earn the cruise missile. Great shots out of Xnid. Shuts down that potential cruise coming in. It could have been a big game-changing moment, but it's going to be Lore soaking up that final time. Unless Xnid has anything to say about it, he is going to lose that gunfight. And now Paul X off the rotation alongside Arcades. They're finding a couple kills. This is the moment.
A little bit of peppering damage from King of Body. Now bumping the hard point from the front. Deals with Yuli, and the trade onto Paul is decent. 3v2 at the moment around the hill, but Khalid able to find now 2Real, and he's going to get top red control. This is a flawless setup for Team Falcons, but Lore still have some space from the front.
A lot of presence around this red area. Paul X as well finds his second kill onto the player in the hard point. So now you have to hold down your cuts, and hopefully the players off the respawn wants to work him way back on in. But now with the contesting and the hill being white, Falcons can no longer win it here. They are forced to hit that early rotation, combine it with a couple of kills. You can already see as they're attempting to do that.
Yeah, Lore Gaming have made the call. Just don't let them get through red, whatever it takes. But has Khalid found an opening?
Oh my God.
Oh, he slipped the net. It's all about the timing. Paul gets shut down, and now Khalid knows he just has to hold this position at chunk. The break is in for Lore, but they cannot win on this hill. They have to make a rotation, and Falcons will be there first.
The spawns are in for Falcons. That was such a big heads-up play to hit that early rotation. But now the trades are more effective on the side of Lore. Last player here is going to be King of Body to try to make a play happen. Don't put yourself in the hard point. Just try to be a nuisance. Wait for your teammates to get a lot closer.
Here's the challenge. Doesn't initially predict him around the back, but the kills are decent from the front. Not fully enough. Lore Gaming into the hard point. Xnid has to go. Jumping off top third, shut down. 5 in a row for Yuli, who's come up massive in these closing moments, and Lore Gaming are gonna have a chance to send this to a 5th map.
Whew. What a game for Hardpoint between both teams. Falcons had a lot of opportunities. They had such a hot start to that game. But when we got to the second half, the P4s, the P5, is when Lore got themselves back into this. The ARs really stepped up. You had Arcinies have a phenomenal start. Started shooting little bodies here and there. He was trying to get the boys riled up, but I feel like my MVP of that map, without question, was Paul X. He had multiple opportunities where he had to clutch up in a bunch of these kills. He was able to find multiple two pieces after two pieces to keep his dreams alive of forcing that game number 5. And I know it was very, very stressful, but you got the job done. Just one more map between both of these teams to see who moves on to tomorrow.
Unreal map. It did feel like getting through that next rotation. Falcons did all the right macro moves, but a couple individual fights, like you mentioned, from both Arcinies and Paul, I think in particular, break those setups that looked like they were about a fraction of a second away from being perfect for Team Falcons. There's a look back at the 250 to 230 scoreboard. 60 engagements for Exted, by the way, on the nose. Able to get 24 of those 30 non-traded with 6,300 damage, only bested by Arcinies 35 and 23 for nearly 6,400.
Man, they played so well. It just came down to the second half of the game where they needed to be a little bit tighter on their setups. When you got back to that P1 area, they were initially holding down the power positions, sitting around top 3, dominating around red. But then Lore found their openings. They won that initial gunfight to top 3. They take down the player off hill, and then now you're forcing Falcons to think about that rotation. And at the same time, you had a couple players thinking about rotation. Also, you had a couple players still trying to contest that old time. So Lore had the numbers advantage in a couple of those engagements to make those breaks a lot easier. A grueler of a map number 4, but we are blessed to see a map number 5 for the first time here on the main stage today.
And this is going to be a really fun one to break down because there's a lot of things for us to keep our eye on, not only off the fact that Team Falcons did give the Atlanta FaZe a bit of a run for their money here, but we know what 2Real brings to the table when he's on an invasion surge. A little bit of a tease as we look back over the highlights over map number 4. And wow, what a map it was. Just comes down to, again, you're in a position where both hard points are winnable for Team Falcons. Can you take this small break to regain your breath, chill with the adrenaline just a touch, and come in composed for map number 5?
That's all it's going to be, man, because at least based off that map number 2, Lore were not as composed. The teamwork was not there from them, even when they were finding first blood at the first blood early into that game. Falcons, with the aggression, were able to set the tone, and they did the same exact thing versus a team like Atlanta FaZe, but this is a squad that they struggled on that defensive end on a map like Invasion. You have to allow the play to come to you. I know the energy is high, the crowd is behind you, you're sitting in your home stadium, and you are ready to rock and roll into this game number 5 to try to take your very first series here versus the top challengers team that we had coming into EWC. The nerves, everything is going to be on the line. It's just, like you said, who's going to be more calm, cool, and collected going into this game 5?
100%. Because like we have already talked about for Lore Gaming, the expectation is you run through this. You're the Challenger champion. You're playing a Challenger team that didn't even make it to champs. On the other side, if you're Team Falcons, you're playing for pride and honor, not just in the country, but also what you can do with a couple of players playing in their home city. Unreal seeds throughout map number 4, but it all will come down to what happens on Invasion Surge. And a couple of questions for the side of Ricky Utura, and maybe some Jedi mind tricks from Ludi there at the end with our final cams.
Going into this game number 5, man, who are the 2 players that you're looking at to really step up and shine to try to secure this map for them?
I think King of Bodies going to be looking for redemption after what we didn't really mention. It wasn't a particularly great map for him. On the other front, I think this has got to be Yuli. I'm looking at him to be flexible. I'm looking at him to swap back and forth between an SMG and an AR and try to be that difference maker in terms of the speed and tempo of which this Lore Gaming team wants to play at. But all that told, regardless of who you look at, this is all about who survives. And in this group, this is the last match we still have available towards us. A map 5 to figure out who gets into the final chance at qualifying in Group D. They will take on the loser of either 100 Thieves or Atlanta FaZe. The other side of things, we already talked about it. Stallions able to 3-0 Team Heretics. We've already seen a couple of upsets in terms of the expectations on the day. Heretics dropping out, maybe not as huge of a surprise as, you know, others, but G2 also drops a Gentle Bitch, which did take me a bit by surprise.
That's 2 pro teams that we had all throughout the pro season. Even though they're on the lower side, at least for the G2 roster, they had to learn how to play with each other. It was 2 different teams combined into one. They could not figure it out. Miami, that's simply disappointing, but enough from us. Game number 5, right on the backside of this sprint.
It's the EWC and you want to play like a pro. Well, we've got a lesson for you. Axe on. You're fresh, ready to fight and grind those long hours. It's how it should be. Axe off. You're slow, unfocused, and lagging. Do you get it? Let's go again. To unleash your best game, you must freshen up first. Get your axe on. Spray, play, repeat. Axe and Esports World Cup.
لحظات البداية عاشت معنا. كنا نحسبها وقت للتسلية بس. نحسبها بس ذكريات.
عبود أعطي أختك اليد يا ولد.
ابتكرنا فيها ابتكارات، وإذا بغينا قلبناها خرافات. كنا نحسبها بس لمة وصحبة وسهرات.
انتبه نو ترى نو.
لكن كنا نشوف عالم ما أحد يشوفه.
ليته يشغل وقته بشيء يفيده.
الله عليك على اليد سود.
عالم كبر وعاش فينا. عالم الحماس فيه يوصلك كل مرة لحلم أصعب، بس ما يصعب عليك. بارد معك وين ما تروح.
Welcome back to our final match on the first day, as we've got all 5 maps, just as many fingers as J-Stud has got, at least for now. I know you've got more than 5.
Hey, I got 10.
Where are we going with that? No one knows, but hey, that may also be the moniker of what this whole series has to offer, because the expectation would be that the Lord Challengers champs would have no problem here, kind of like the same mantra that we said about FaZe versus this Falcons team, but something about home crowd energy, whether it be at champs or it be here in Riyadh, seems to be fueling the team in green.
Man, this is going to be your grueler over map number 5. Like you said, if you were Lore, you were thinking, okay, we're going to be able to right the wrongs of our previous series. We played 100 Thieves very, very tight, especially in that final hardpoint before they fell short. But they were able to get through a grueler over map number 4, keep the momentum going. AR's really set the tone, but it all comes down to this one map to move on to tomorrow.
Can you find a way to stop this Falcons search, which has been so good so far today? Especially considering that we already saw them correct some mistakes on the invasion control that they faced FaZe on. Now a chance to do the same thing here in map number 5. On the other front, this Lore Gaming team in certain ways has been stapled off of what they can do in the search and destroy. Can they find a way to do it when it matters and stave off possible elimination here?
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for both of these teams is simply slowing down the game. It's been aggression after aggression for both of these squads and all of the search and destroys. Comes back to bite you at moments, but here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the game number 5 between Team Falcons and Lore. Gonna have Team Falcons on the attacking side first of all, and they're already showing a lot of presence over towards Birkin. First blood from Khalid.
And I was about to say, the player you want to keep your eye on for Lore Gaming is number 6 in Real. What he does typically gives you the idea of what Lore Gaming is attempting to pull out of their playbook. And with him playing through mid, now he's looking to get aggressive. Good shots from Paul, backside tractor. But the problem here is I think Turel's been seen on this long flank, and Falcons are holding off for now.
And this is where you have to make that quick decision to try to isolate onto Paul Lex, because Yuli was the aggressor, pushed up into his work rate. You find that initial first blood. And keep in mind, this is also round number 1, so no trophy systems in the back pocket. But Team Falcons, they're going to try to hit that audible snake. Smoke does get invested. Turo's only able to take down 1, but Falcons effective on the trade. Still a 2v2, though.
Bomb still left, though, at mid. A lingering 1v1 over towards B Street. Paul was taking shots towards King Abadi. The same can be said here as Nexid finds Zarslig over the top of the heady. So now it's just down to Paul. And he, I don't think, has seen the crossover initially, but his proactive read is correct as he moves his way over towards A.
Yeah, the bomb's going to get down for free. They gained the info onto Paul X, knowing that he was showing presence over towards that B Street, but I don't know if they're going to be ready for the adjustment. the route out of Paul X to work his way back over to the corner. He's going to catch the timing, isolate onto the player, but he doesn't have a stunner grenade. It'll really help right now. Still 30 seconds to go.
And Exnid is covering, so now you've got the regen. Tingabadi just has to hold this dumpster heady. Paul will be left to have to hit over through Water Street side. Here comes the rotation, and now the information is known. Long-range shots, tagging but not finding the kill. The rewrap is on, the time is ticking, and Falcons are looking good for round number 1. Paul not able to catch the timing to find the kills nor the defuse.
And that's going to be Team Falcons again, finding success early on the attacks, and it helps when you're finding that first blood 10 seconds into the round.
Facts.
Both of these teams love to play super aggressive, try to take the map away from you, but it can come back to bite you. You got to slow this game down because this is such a crucial moment, especially if you're Lore.
Let's see what Lore decide to do here in this first offense. Again, keeping my eyes between Yuli and Turiel. Turiel will be the one to swap between AR or SMG. Yuli likely the one to try to set the tone early. Is there going to be some significant play towards B? It's often been the case for Lore on their offensive side. RC is going to watch the initial cross. And yep, Turiel will catch the bomb. Yuli quickly over towards DVD alley.
And I love the adjustments already from Team Falcons. This time they send 2 players over towards B. And look how much space Khalid is able to take on away. He realizes there's no presence crossing over towards Treehouse. But they are in the ideal setup that they want to be. And Turiel gains the info. Smoke grenade is going to get invested. No, it's actually a stun. You're thinking that that's going to connect. But Falcons, again, find that first one and the second.
The help from Khalid. Nade over towards that back door. Works out nicely, but Paul, good for the double. Khalid taking some space over towards B. Bomb down for Lore, but we get a pretty even 2v2, all things told.
45 seconds still to play with. Bomb is going to be down around that A site. And with Khalid in the perfect positioning around this mid-tank, it's going to be very difficult for Lore to even think about that objective. But you have RCDs watching that overextension, not gaining any info, but Paul X throwing that shoulder. He spots Khalid towards mid-tank.
Good search and destroy IQ here for Khalid, knowing that Paul's not going to take that challenge, and instead there might be a hit through mid. Follow-up around the back, though, for RCDs is decent. Opening shots are tagging. Nade over the top. Trade of damage back and forth, and RCDs able to take the win before the nade can land. And we'll be tied up at 1.
And that's 2 situations where Falcons should have been able to walk away with that round. You find yourself in the 3v2. Xnid, he decides to go for that trade on the Paul X, but Paul X gets the better of him. You're turning it into a 2v2. And then once you find that initial kill, even though RCDs instantly finds that trade, he still has to think about that objective. He still has to put his gun away to plant that bomb. But you try to force the gunfight, and RCDs is never going to shy away from the moment, able to clutch on up. Back-to-back attacking rounds for both teams.
Whether he is or not, he thinks he's the best player in the lobby.
Yes.
He's going to take those challenges without question. Opening damage being tallied on both sides to this cross at mid. Xdid wants to see, is there a chance he can maybe find Yuli? Hard to say if he saw him on that cross or not. Doesn't make much of a difference because Turiel through Cafe have gotten aggressive, and Xdid does get caught over towards Arches. And an unfortunate team shot comes out to finish off Khalid at low health. And there's just nowhere to go if you're Roxas.
Yeah, 1v4 for Roxas. Positioning already known, all of Lore deciding to pounce in towards Mannequin. Not able to find a single kill. And that's Lore just realizing their opponents. Because that was the initial round that they threw out versus Atlanta FaZe, where King of Body just decides to work his way instantly up through Water Street. Tura did a little bit of homework. He was prepared for that. They find the first blood, effective trades as well. Also, the team kill is definitely going to help. And that's going to be the first defensive round secured. Lore, 2 rounds in a row.
If I'm not mistaken, Arcee's got 2 in that round, so now he's on 4 in a row, which could play into a possible cruise missile early to this search and destroy. What do you call if you're Team Falcons? Again, they found so much success offensively, but now not having that, what do you pull back on your defense here in round number 4? It looks like they're going to go to the same setup. Khalid just once again playing aggressive towards this B archway. Double stack largely allowing him to do this, but it's Yuli with an SMG in hand. Just a quick shoulder, allowing him to get the first blood.
It is time Yuli makes the adjustments. They spot no players crossing over towards Treehouse, but they realize that Khalid was aggressive that time around through Arches. And now they're using that information to their advantage. The smoke grenade is getting invested. You already blew up the trophy system, but so you're going to force the back down positioning out of player in Roxas, but somehow, some way, he's able to find a kill. Man advantage Falcons.
I was just about to say there's 2 ways to use the smoke. You can either block the cross or just block off the defender, but Roxas uses as his coverage. Exit through dark works out nicely. And with that, now it's down to Paul for a 1v3. Not going to get the isolated 1v1 versus Xdid, and it's a defense for defense set of rounds here for both our teams.
Fantastic plays right there out of Falcons, even after getting picked off early on in the man disadvantage. They realized where the play was coming in. Great heads-up play from Roxas to realize that, all right, they're throwing all these attacks at me. Smoke grenade is on my feet. Let me just back down and try to play for one kill. But at the same time, when he finds that kill, his teammates across the map find one of their own. So they put themselves in the man advantage, able to capitalize on that clutch.
Huge timing play from XNID, legitimately, because Roxas looked like he was dead to rights.
Yeah.
So 2-2 we go. Again, keep your eye on Turiel. He's the sole defender this time at A. I imagine he's probably got an MCW this round. XNID and the rest of the crew looking to play up through B Street, but a heavy-handed hit here for Lore Gaming. 3 members large leads to a first blood with, again, a little bit of extra forward pressure towards Treehouse.
And I love that play right there from Yuli. You get the kill, you back out, you keep the man advantage in favor of your roster. So now you are forcing Team Falcons to try to get it done in another 3v4. Smoke grenade gonna get invested over towards Water Street.
Wow.
Turiel in the ideal position. Gains info onto 2, is able to find King of Body, 4v2 in favor of Lore.
About to say, in rounds like this in the past, Turiel has had an MCW, just watching kind of more safe crosses. This time, it is a rival 9, and in that position, he nearly takes down 2. It definitely stops the play from Falcons pretty darn convincingly. 2v4 situation. X did for 1, but RCD's not going to give up mid-tank for free, and the help is there. Lore Gaming keep this thing all defense.
It's just fantastic plays out of the SMGs to start off that round for Lore. Yuli opens up with the first blood. 2-Real finds that second and gains the info that they are applying the pressure through Cafe to try to work this A objective. And then you allow the rest of your teammates in the man advantage to just completely take the map away. You dominate around mid-tank. RCD finds a third, a couple team shots onto the final player. Clean round right there from Lore to early on set the tone with that first kill, but then back down and play their numbers perfectly.
So with defense starting to dominate largely with success through mid, how do you try to break that up if you're Lore Gaming? Last time around, they tried to get isolation deep towards the B site. Nearly worked, but it was XNID at mid who shut down the entirety of the play. Do you have anything built to try to take this player off tank?
It's not going to be easy. It's now Lore. Just make sure they covered all their bases. This time Falcons going back to their default setup, trying to hold down this Water Street, showing presence around Cafe. There's a lot of presence from Lore as that smoke grenade already gets invested. They have mid-tank control. This can be dangerous.
It's still being fought, though, for at the recontest for Team Falcons. These nades are landing. King of Body stepping away, but XNID does drop. King of Body, tough gunfight with Yuli over the top of the tank. And that will lead to Lore Gaming winning mid-map and now having a chance to plan today.
Yeah, 4v2, bomb going down. Both of the players left holding those ARs from long distance, but Khalid in a position to potentially find a freebie here.
Need it.
In the 2v4 with only 35 seconds left, you got to try to make a play happen.
They're looking to see if anyone's going to challenge over towards Water Street first and foremost. The help is here. Damage is dealt. First kill is good. Khalid still alive. Now changes the angle up just a touch. Time is running out. There is still a smoke available for Team Falcons, though. Kicks, just not quite able to get through the play, and Yuli right there at mid, never giving up the position at tank. Able to bail Lore out from what was a pretty heavy-handed approach from Team Falcons.
And that all it comes down to, that mid-tank area. The fact that they invest that smoke grenade, force all the attacks to be invested on the side of Team Falcons, and no one drops. You set up Yuli for a free double to start it off. You get the bomb down, and Team Falcons trying to apply pressure over through Water Street. It's very difficult to retake that A site when you don't have mid-tank control. Lore realized we got to make the game a lot harder, and no one gives up their life for free.
Yeah.
Starting to pull away in this search and destroy.
First Bloods represent the scoreboard as well. 4 for Lore, 2 for Team Falcons. Could that be another difference maker? As Team Falcons will play very safely off this opener. I think that's kind of a lesson learned after the aggressive hit from Lore in their last defense through B.
Yeah, they just want to make sure they don't get caught off guard this time around. Now they're slowing down the game a little bit. Pressure at its highest moment right now. It's already been 30 seconds wiped off the game clock. And it seems like they're gaining info that there's no presence over towards Water Street, but RC strikes with the first.
And then the stun from Turiel into the smoke. I thought Fur was going to be the difference maker and winning that gunfight easily, but not to be. Arcity's keeping down the pedal, at least for a moment. Trade is out. And it's all on to Paul. 1v2 situation. Bomb is not rotated over to A yet, but very well likely will.
Yeah, if you're Roxas, you don't want to catch bad timing here off the rotation. As Paulix already knows where the player is going to start to come in, and he might have found the perfect timing to find the first kill, but early shots not good enough. Now that bomb's going down.
Waiting for the regen first. Roxas trying to see if there's going to be a follow-up from Paul, who slides over towards the tank. Decent angle. Semtex lands with another nade behind that. Somehow Paul's still alive, but the bomb gets planted and the pressure is on. Here comes the play around the back, and Paul nearly gets the snap, but not quite quick enough. And with that, Team Falcons bring us back within one.
That's fantastic plays out of Falcons. Again, in another 3v4 clutch on up. It all came down to that gunfight versus 2-Real though through the smoke. The fact that King of Body with the AR in hand wins that up close and personal versus Arrival 9 and 2-Real. Puts them in the man advantage, and I love the fact that they were playing their life, not really committing on that bomb plan until both players were fully rejuvenated on their health. And then once that double nade comes in, I don't know how Paul X eats both nades, but he was not able to put himself in a position to instantly go for the chow. You take the map away from them, and Falcons stop the bleeding.
Critical round here to see if Falcons can get their defense going again. Opening nades, blowing up the car's front side of the A site. King of Body going to play into mid with Xnid nearby. So a little bit of a different setup here for Falcons defensively.
But now hold strong on this setup. You have every single angle cut off. You have Yuli working his way through mid-cut, but somehow, some way, he's able to find that first kill. Great investment out of the smoke grenade to not allow that player over towards B. Try to find that trade. As that bomb already gets planted at A. 3v4 again for Falcons.
And RCDs was able to get a read on King of Body, who was chasing down initially the trade onto Yuli. That doesn't come through either. And then 2-Real Paul X combined for the shots at mid, and that was good. Split-second decision-making for Lord Gaming.
And that was a great individual play to start it off, man, from Yuli. He was the only player sitting over towards B Street. He realizes there's only one player from Falcons that crosses over towards that B site. And when they have one player playing it towards B site, the other player is watching it through mid-cut. So you invest a smoke grenade, completely isolate the player around that mid-dark area. Wins that first initial engagement. The rest of the team is bombarded their way around that A site. You put the bomb down. You hold strong around that mid-tank setup. And now Lore Gaming at game point.
Ugh. What do you pull here if you're Team Falcons for 3 in a row? Once again, nades over the top, delete the cars. Trophy system down for the side of Lord Gaming with a smoke that just uses bait. This is going to force Team Falcons to have to be worried about that broken play on B Street.
It's fantastic plays again from Yuli. The mind games playing a big part so far in this map number 5, because they were ready to pounce over towards that broken area and take that map control away from Lore.
Yep.
But still a minute left on the game clock. It looks like the push is going to come in towards A.
And for Lore Gaming, that wasn't just a fake smoke that comes through. Yuli's the one still committed to watching for the cross. This is a heavy-handed approach for Lore on this A defense. And Team Falcons are trying to show force over towards this side of the map. A smoke from their hands, though. Maybe keeps Lord Gaming a bit planted, but Yuli still hasn't seen anything on the cross yet. And now here comes Falcons on their cross through. That's enough information to really alert RCDs that he might be in a little bit of trouble.
And this one has to count, man, because 30 seconds, you do not have enough opportunities or even enough time to hit that rotation back over towards A. Bomb carrier gonna be Roxas. He's waiting for that health to rejuvenate before he decides to strike for that bomb plant, but King of Body strikes for the first. Roxas does fall, though.
Oh, but King of Body, he sees the pinch. The problem is he's got a lot of pressure towards his teammate from the front. Xnid does his job. He stays alive. Now you got to get the bomb in plant, but there may not be enough time. You got to stick for it. Just enough time to get the bomb planted. Paul, Arcides playing this from ice cream side as the clock is extended to 45.
Xnid is going to try to play his life as long as he possibly can.
What a nade!
HP, but the nade is good enough for King of Body to take down Arcides. Now Paul X in the 1v2. King of Body making the plays. Works his way around the deep pitch. He finds the first blood. He finds another 2 to close out that round. Falcons stay alive.
I mean, that's a Kobe Semtex. He tosses it and then bails. He doesn't even stick around to see if he gets the kill. He just trusts that this Semtex will give Xnid space to stay alive on the bomb. He doesn't have to challenge the player in the corner. I'm going to make the full wrap, and that level of micro trust is huge for Team Falcons. But can they do it another 2 rounds in a row?
And I think the perfect play call right here is to change the pace up completely. Show a lot of presence over towards Cafe. Take that A opportunity away from Lore, because that's been the bomb site they've been able to dominate.
Similar setup for Team Falcons. They've been trying to find ways to dominate a defensive setup. How do they learn the lesson after what foiled them last time was simply just Yuli through the mid-cut? And this time Roxas is only watching the dark cut.
So they're watching all their angles. That stun is going to get invested, and Paul X is going to be able to find that first one onto Khalid. Already a lot of aggression on this A side. Xnid is going to get isolated. 11 HP in a dream, and his teammates fall as well.
But Roxas on the flank, oh, he's got to do it all. He needs to find timing here through DVD. Finds the first on towards the tank. Can he turn this into a second? No, Paul shuts it down. And the Challengers champs stay alive, if only just barely.
That was not an easy series there for Lore. But I know they are happy as hell to get through that grueler of a best of 5. But we were counting out Team Falcons. We thought that obviously you don't make your way to champs. You're the bottom team coming on in, but they put on an absolute show here in front of the hometown crowd. Unfortunately, not able to clutch up in those final moments, man. It just came down to those little mistakes. Multiple first bloods on the side of Lore Gaming. I'm pretty sure they found 7 in that game number 5, and this time they did not throw away those situationals.
Just difficulty in the middle of the map defensively for Team Falcons.
Yeah.
Even throwing another member there, just not quite able to read on Yuli's pinch play through dark on one round, and then there, kind of the same thing. You lose your player at Water Bridge, and those 2 ARs just too overwhelmed after the smoke comes through. So tough scenes for Team Falcons, but you gotta feel really prideful of the show you put on versus one of the world's best ever in the side of Atlanta phase and the best in Challengers champs of Lore Gaming. But the dream still lives for our Challengers champs to possibly still exit this bracket.
Yeah, dream still lives, but it was not easy. In fact, you were able to force it all the way into game number 5. Obviously, Yuli had a bunch of moments. The energy was going to be there, but Team Falcons, they really gave them a run for their money,
Big
man.
time.
They have a bunch of shooters on that side, but you can just tell if they could have gotten a little bit of better practice, maybe a potential VOD session to understand these little mistakes that they were made, they would have potentially been able to move